Very happy to have my next guest back on the show. She just dropped her debut solo album called Slow Crush. It is Alisa Xayalith.
Hello. Yes, correct.
I have always known this.
Yeah.
But apparently others don't.
No, they don't. They really don't. And I don't know. It's always so funny. I'm like, my last name is pronounced Xayalith, and it's a Lao word for victory. So now you just learned a Lao word.
That's right.
You know?
This
There
is
you
right.
go. I just broadened your vocabulary
Yes.
by one
This is like an
extra
inside
word.
joke, by the way. Before the cameras are rolling, she was like, by the way, it's pronounced Xayalith. So apparently you've done a few of these, and it's been butchered a bazillion times.
Oh, yeah.
What's the worst?
I think people maybe don't even try.
Oh, yeah?
They just like, I'm not even going to
Alisa
try and
X.
say, yeah, or like, they just straight up say like, how do you say your last name? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's always nice to ask first before
Yeah,
you go
I
and butcher
appreciate
it. But
I totally appreciate it.
But you never know.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up and having it butchered in class?
Honestly, I just got so used to it.
Especially
And-
like growing up in New Zealand,
Yeah. And unless if I cared enough, I would correct that person. But I'm like, I'm not going to see them again. So
right? Did you ever wish that you might have a different last name as a child and as a youth?
I mean, yeah, of course. But I've learned to really love my name.
It's so unique. You just type in Alisa X on Google, and it already
There you
autocompletes
go.
Xayalith there.
Yeah, and it's linked to my heritage, and yeah, I think it's really cool.
It's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And this album is beautiful.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the release.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it feels good to have it out.
People don't know when these things are filmed. We're literally catching you on the first night of the
Yeah.
debut tour.
It's a milestone.
This is fantastic.
It's breaking through the fourth wall
Yeah.
for me.
Last time we spoke was over Zoom, and there were hints of kind of doing something like this. But
Yeah.
obviously these things take time.
Yes. I think the last time we spoke, I was kind of in the infancy of my project, and I just released my EP, and I was just figuring out how to do things on my own. And what I mean by that is creatively. So how do I write a song from A to B, and how do I find the vocabulary to work with a producer and communicate what kind of soundscape I want? Like I was learning so much on that first EP, because writing songs and finding chord progression that are like I can do, but when it came to recording and editing vocals and knowing what kind of guitar tones I really liked and what I didn't like, that was just a real exercise in just taking agency over my creative process.
What was it like trying to write songs as an individual solo artist and not leaning off of what you had written previously?
It was really easy because I feel like when I wanted to step into this project, I wanted to kind of just shed everything that had been before and start completely fresh. And that was really easy to do because The Naked and Famous has a very specific sound, and I sing a specific way in that band. And I feel like because of the push and pull and the intense kind of strain that would happen in that kind of world, I really wanted to fortify myself by making music that felt effortless and soft and feminine and lush and pretty. So my ethos was always like, if it feels effortless and I don't have to mine too hard for it or spend a gazillion weeks on a vocal and I don't know, and drive myself crazy like I did on songs like Punching in a Dream or Girls Like You, it was just very easy for me to set what kind of guardrails I wanted for my project, and there was an entire world to explore that I hadn't explored yet. So yeah, it was fun.
Having been a lead singer, lead writer, or co-writer in a successful band for so many years, you have this fearless mentality, especially when you're younger. And your reaction to things is still fresh when you're younger as well. So the words are maybe a little more aggressive or a little bit more flowery or colorful. But now as a mature adult, it's a little different writing songs in that manner, right?
It definitely is, but I still have that same excitement and curiosity and kind of passion for songwriting and making music. And I feel like that's really special, and it makes me feel like I'm exactly where I need to be. I don't feel jaded. I know I've been in this industry for 15 years or so, but the industry has changed so much. The landscape has changed so much since I first stepped into it. In LA, the songwriting scene is so collaborative, and it's fun. It's really fun to make music with people you get along with and have the same taste as you.
Did you feel like it was isolating before writing songs?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, The Naked and Famous was a band that was Tom and I, and it was very insular. Tom produced everything. We wrote everything together. Rarely did we ever have any outside songwriters or co-producers. I think the first producer that we opened the studio to was Justin Meldal Johnson on that second record, and then our friend Simon Oscroft on Recover. He helped co-write and co-produce so much of that record, and he brought in writers that he thought I would get along with. So it wasn't until we were a band that started in 2008, and it wasn't until 2018 that we had decided to go, oh yeah, you know what, we should talk about bringing some songwriters and co-producers in and trying that out. So there were a lot of growing pains when you've just been in one kind of disposition of making music. So
yeah, because you're so protective of your feelings. You're already so vulnerable. You're sharing so much already, and now you're exposing yourself to quote unquote strangers.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And you just kind of have to be fearless about it, and you do it enough times, it gets easier. And I don't know, you open yourself up to make songs and create a whole soundscape that is just so exciting, you know. And things happen quicker when you're collaborating.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Because you're bouncing ideas. And
Yeah.
How many people are in a room for something like, I don't know, chaotic?
Oh, chaotic is just me, my friend Harry, and another writer called Rami. The three of us.
Okay.
Yeah. Those two I know really well, and they know me well. And so we just had
Is it Harry a Kiwi as well?
Yeah, he's a Kiwi. He's a Kiwi. And so, I don't know. I think you can tell how much fun we had writing that song. It's so fun and uplifting and just like making fun. The lyrics are just, there's so much levity in the lyrics. Yeah.
An interesting name that I saw in the credits was one for Roses in Jason Suito.
Yeah.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Jason Suito, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of butchering names, he's from Sir Sly, who I'm a big fan of.
Yes.
And he's like very instrumental in a lot of their sounds.
He's
and I think that he
amazing.
brought a lot of that vibey, dancey
1,000%
type of aesthetic to Roses.
He's on Roses. He's on I'll Be There. He's on Superpowers.
Yeah. How did you meet him?
I met him because my now husband, who's a producer and a songwriter, he knows those guys because they all grew up in Orange County.
Ah.
And so when I was looking to work with people and collaborators, he was like, you know what? I'm going to hit up Jason. He's a great friend, and I think you guys would get along. So it was just an organic introduction, and off we went, and we wrote a few songs
How long did it take
together.
to put together Roses? Because it's such a vibe.
Oh my God, Roses was actually written kind of when the EP, my first EP was being written. So it was a song that was always around, and I always loved it, but I didn't want to release it with the EP. It didn't feel quite right, and so I just kind of saved it for the right moment.
For the album.
For the album,
For the introduction
yeah.
of This Is
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, it's hopeful. It was written during a time where I was just feeling really discouraged by everything in the world in my life, and it was a way of trying to bring hope into my life at that point in time.
In what ways has living in LA influenced this album? Obviously, connections and collaborations and things like that, but in terms of experiences and life and having feelings to share and put into music.
I feel like it's not necessarily LA, but I feel like every song I write has a thread of my personal history, personal life. There's so much to draw from, but also my friendships, conversations I have with people. There's always a line to airlift out of a conversation or like I'll Be There on my first EP. I wrote that for my friend who was going through a breakup, you know, and yeah, I just feel like there's inspiration everywhere, and there's a lot of uncharted territory when it comes to my experiences that I lived through that I haven't written about. So I feel like there's still a lot to cover.
Because it's a stereotype. Moving to California, LA especially, where it's sunny and vibey and fun, and
Yeah.
you inherently, and without knowing it, absorb some of that carefree lifestyle.
Yeah, but also for the first, like, from 2011 to 2017, I was touring so much with the band that I didn't really put roots down in LA until 2017. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, if anything, being in LA, just you have access to writers and producers and collaborators and people to work with. You know, I couldn't do what I do in New Zealand because, as much as I love the New Zealand music industry there, it is really small.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sure you're loving living in LA too.
I love living in LA. My life is there now.
Yeah. By the way, you just mentioned being married and
Yeah.
and all that. Congratulations.
Thank
I don't know how
you.
long has it been?
It's been like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Still in the honeymoon phase.
I guess. I'm a newlywed still, maybe.
And then you hit the road and now you're
Yeah,
you're-
yes.
What was it like writing Alone with You? Because that song is inspired and kind of influenced by a time when you two were separate.
Yeah.
Separated because
Yeah.
of visa issues and whatnot.
Honestly, that song just kind of popped out of me one day when I was stuck in New Zealand, and it was when there were floods happening in the city. It felt very apocalyptic, and I was waiting to get my visa renewed and approved, and it was taking a lot longer than it usually does. And I was just like thinking, in the 10 years that I have been kind of working here, is this going to be the one time that I don't get it? And so I was in the anxiety spiral mode, and it was just such a precarious time. And so I ended up writing Alone with You with a friend, and I guess I naturally wrote something in 6/8. I just picked up the guitar and we were just strumming, and the 6/8 kind of strum feel was what stuck, you know? So
Right. And a track like Ordinary Love evokes, at least for me, a younger person's perspective, because I hear late night car fights and that's the first thing I think of.
yeah, because I feel like every single person that has been in love has had a fight in
Exactly.
the car, and it's been nighttime.
Yep.
And I was just drawing from real life experiences that I had lived through.
Definitely from an older Alisa with a little bit more experience type
Yes.
of lens. I
It's
think.
very like self-aware, very self-aware, even though there's like inklings of looking back on youth. And yeah, when I write about those kinds of things, I feel like it's from a very self-aware adult lens.
Yeah. Is there a particular song on the album that really sticks out and that you're most proud of? That, man, this is a banger.
Oh my God.
Because I got my favorites. I rattled a lot of them off.
I love all the songs on the record, but another one that I wrote during floods in New Zealand was Romance is Dead with Harry. And
That's the last song.
that's the last song, and I love that song so much. Just, I know it's like quite long and it has a long intro, but like everything about that song I love.
Interesting choice to as the last song.
I
too.
I know, but that is my favorite. Like, it's such a, yeah, I love the chord progressions, and Harry Charles, who produced a lot of this record, he and we're both like neurodivergent, and he plays guitar left-handed, and so he comes to production and songwriting from such a different place. He'll pick up a guitar and he'll be like, oh, this is right-handed, I'm going to turn it upside down and put a capo here and a capo here. And like, oh, that sounds cool. You know, it's just so fun to write music with someone like that.
That's so interesting that there are differences between a left-handed and right-handed.
Yeah, and
player.
I am left-handed, but I play right-handed guitar.
Wow.
So
I never knew that.
yeah, it's just
You
yeah.
just assume that people are right-handed players.
Yeah, I don't
unless
know.
they're-
I think I'm ambidextrous. I think
Yeah.
that's what I am.
I imagine that we're catching you on tour here. How are you interpreting these songs live?
Well, touring is really, as an independent artist, very expensive. So I have a guitar player with me, and we have the rest of the band in a box called a laptop.
Okay.
But it's like the perfect setup for this run, and I just hope to graduate and have a full band at some point. So
Yeah.
you've
yeah.
really caught me at the very beginning of being a touring performing artist again. It's very exciting. So it's very exciting to be doing music still as Alisa Xayalith now, and you know, I had to play guitar in these songs. I don't have another guitar player. I'm gonna play some parts. So I'm also stepping into this like performing role that feels very new for me.
This is just me. I could see you sitting on this sofa with a guitar and just be totally blown away, and
thank
it
you.
would just, I don't know, satisfy me for years.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm a big fan of you and your songwriting and just you as a person.
Oh, thank you.
I wouldn't go out of my way to do these kind of things if I, didn't like the music and didn't like you as a person.
Well, you've certainly been a part of the cultural kind of come up with all of the changes and music we're living through in my career. And I think it's really cool to have people like you that have been interviewing me from when I was really young in the band to now, like a fully formed woman, adult.
It's really wild. I've said this to you before, and I'll say it again. The very first time you were telling me that you just hoped to be able to do this forever because you loved it so much. And that's a young person's point of view. Mm-hmm. I just love music so much. I just want to do this forever.
Yeah. I still feel that way.
Right?
Yeah. Somebody I recently had a meeting and they're like, so what do you want to do? Do you want to keep doing this? I'm like, I want to just keep making bodies of work and writing songs with artists on their project and performing. Like, if I can keep doing that until I'm an old lady, I would live a very, very charmed and fulfilled life.
You are on your way.
Yeah, so that is me.
As you and I get grayer.
So far, I don't know.
At some point, we're going to be doing this and be like, so, Alisa.
There's this video. Oh, I wish I knew her name, but she's an older Asian woman, and she sings and plays guitar, and she has a little chihuahua that she sings to. And I'm like, I want to be like her. I want to be an old Asian lady at some point, writing songs, singing to my dog.
Singing to your dog.
Like, I love that picture.
Let's continue doing this.
Yes.
I really appreciate the time.
Of course.
And congrats on everything.
Thank
and best
you.
of luck with tour and all that.
Thank you. Night one. Here we come.
Alisa Xayalith, right here on B-Sides.